So friends, in previous class we have seen what are the important questions that are likely to come from AP economy segment, and we'll continue the questions and discussions today. Let us try to first understand what are the macroeconomic aspects of Andhra Pradesh economy. Okay, the GSDP and the sectorial trends, because before we initiate any of the discussions on the economy, it is important for us to arrive at a particular understanding of AP economy. And I expect also a question on this: trends in GSDP, and sectorial growth, both can come together. Then we see, of course, as far as the sectors are concerned, we'll go to agriculture and all that. Of course, it's slightly differently organized than the syllabus. Syllabus, first, you get budgetary aspects, tax, non-tax revenue. But before we get an understanding, then we will go to budget. See, basically, Andhra Pradesh economy has been a cause of concern, right? Because we have two major concerns for AP economy. One, the impact of bifurcation, right? Of course, we know that because of the bifurcation, Hyderabad has been lost and industrial base has been lost. So right from 2014, if you see, one of the major problems for Andhra Pradesh economy was the legacy of bifurcation, the adverse impact of bifurcation that we keep seeing it. That is one thing. The second impact is, of course, even though from 2014 the economy was able to revive, with focus on agriculture and some infrastructure and all that. But what has happened, 2019 onwards, we have a different focus, which is mostly welfare driven focus, the Navaratnalu concept, right? So the economic significance of Navaratnalu concept is that, it is more in terms of, what should we say, the welfare and, doling out freebies rather than the capacity creation. Of course, there are different models of economic growth, and the government believes that a welfare-led model of growth is important. So 2019 to 20, 20 to 21, then 21, 22, 22, 23. These are the years if you see. Okay, of course, the focus on Navaratnas and all that started in 2019 when we have the new government that came up. But after that, we had the issue of COVID pandemic. So before before the state could come out of the issue, the bifurcation legacy, we have another problem, that is the COVID-19 and the kind of impact. It is not only peculiar to Andhra Pradesh, but we had the impact of this across all the sectors across the India and the globe. Anyway, AP is not an exception to it. So that is also one more problem. Now again, in 2021, we have the COVID problem, right? 21, 22, there was a resurgence, because it is like this. You stop everything for a long time and suddenly you open it up, there will be some kind of bubble-led growth. Because of this COVID impact, lockdown, all the economic activity has stopped, and 21, 22, there was a sudden recharge of the economy, rekindling of the economic activity. So we had a reasonably decent growth, not only in Andhra Pradesh, but also in case of India. We have seen one, two aspects of Indian economy. We'll run both from tomorrow. Okay. So we see the GDP growth, how it was growing in 21, 22, not only there, but also in Indian context. But again, after that, we have a dip in this, right? Now see, in FY22, the GDP of India has almost grown by 8.7%, but again this time it has come down. So like that, there is lot of volatility. So let me tell you 2-3 points clear. I will send this question to you immediately after the class late tonight. the Q&A, analyze the trends in GSDP and the sectorial growth. But to get a conceptual understanding, first of all, why should we need to understand the GSDP growth of an economy or a state? Is because it becomes very important to ensure the overall growth or the increase in per capita income. Secondly, for employment creation or to attract global investments also, there is a lot of importance given to the GSDP growth. You know, if companies have to invest, whether they see the GDP growth overall for the country, and also they see the GSDP growth, specific to the state. Now coming to Andhra Pradesh, why is this significant? You know, what are the significant things here? The significant things is that AP has a unique position. AP economy has a unique position in the sense that we had the bifurcation, then the economy picked up in a different way, and again we had the COVID impact, then the focus shifted to the welfare measures rather than capacity creation or the investment in infrastructure. At the same time, AP has been doing good in ease of business for 3 consecutive years. You know, in fact, it's a mix of paradoxes. There is no business happening in a big way, but we have #1 rank in ease of doing business. There is lot of focus on welfare activity. Almost 60% of the budget is going to the allocations is going to the welfare activities, and the infrastructure has taken a back seat. So how do you synchronize the trends? Anyway, let us see, first let us try to understand what are the trends. So basically the point #1 is there is a lot of volatility. There is a lot of volatility in the economy, in the sense that there is the growth rates. If you see the growth rates, they are totally different. Now let us start from this year, as the current financial year, FY23. 22-23 is FY23. Now what is the general impression? The general impression is that the government, the AP economy is doing very well, and also the growth rates are very good. If you have listened to the budget speech of our Honorable Finance Minister Rajendranath, and also if you generally see the highlights that are given in newspapers, any newspaper you take after the presentation of the budget, they say that AP economy has grown by 16.22% in the current prices. Now what is this current prices and constant prices? This I explained to you when we are talking about the GSDP basics in Indian economy class. When you say current prices, we are not removing the impact of the inflation. When we are saying constant prices, as of now, the constant prices that are being used is 2011-12 anywhere in the country, in the economy. So now you just take this as a base year. The purpose of base year is to ward off the evil impact of the inflationary push. For example, see today, I will give you an example of the A4 sheets. I think I told you this earlier also, but in a different context. Now you see, 500 A4 sheets 4 months back, rather 4 months back, they cost 180 rupees. You can check, because you also keep buying white papers to study, and I also keep buying white papers to give all the material, right? So A4, 500 A4 sheets are 180 rupees. Now, after the class tomorrow, you go and find out what is the price of the A4 sheets. They say anything between 220 to 230, a good quality. And I have my office persons who got it even for 260 rupees. The quality is very good. I was surprised. Now say anyway, hypothetically say 50 rupees increase. Now, in 2020-21, the total A4 sheets production, you say, right, you say 5, or you say even 1 bundle. 1 bundle is the value of A4 sheets production. What is GDP? The total value of goods and services produced. What is GSDP? The total value of goods and services produced in the state. So now you assume that 2021, the value of A4 sheet papers that are produced is 180 rupees. These are just hypothetically. But in you say 2020 to 23. 21 22, sorry, 21 22, then 22 23. Now you see, calculate, it is 230 rupees. Now the value is increased by 50%, but the production remained the same. So the point I am trying to tell you is, the correct measure of the economic activity or the economic growth is always the constant prices. Current prices we cannot take. That to last year we have an high inflation of crossing 5% most of the times. So we have to ward it off. Now the general opinion the government is trying to give, or the newspapers write, because they write what the government say, is that the AP economy grew. Budget is 2 days back, right, 3 days back, right? You see the budget day newspapers economic survey released, then highlights the government released, and they say 16.22% growth. But the real thing is, if you see the facts, this is what you need to mention in the examination. The constant prices, the AP GSDP at the constant prices has actually fallen. Okay, remember this. This year's the AP GSDP at the constant prices has actually fallen, compared to the previous years, right? So always we have to mention in the constant prices only. Now let us see the GDP growth from 2018 to 19 to 20 to 23. Okay, because to establish a trend. Now the trend we are saying is volatile, right? So in 2018-19, the GSDP growth, if you see the absolute terms, value terms, you don't try to remember all the 5 years, so that it will not cause any pressure on your mind and rather memory. You simply remember growth rates to mention the trend, to arrive at a trend. So 18-19, if you see the growth rate of Andhra Pradesh economy, GSDP is 5.36%. This is in 2018-19. At the same time, if you see 2019-20, it fell down to 3.7%. Okay, so obviously growth was down. Now 2020-21 is COVID year, automatically, right? Everywhere economy fell. Anyway we are already falling. Mani eppudu taggade malli ingasta ekku taggindi. So if you see 2021-22, the growth rate has fallen. It turned negative. Minus 2.48% is the AP GSDP growth in 2021, right? So then again, as I said in the initial remarks, that there was a sudden revival of, ఇప్పుడు సడన్ గా మనం అన్ని పట్టు కూర్చున్నాం అనుకోండి, ఒకసారి వదిలేగానే ఆల్ యాక్టివిటీ విల్ స్టార్ట్. సో on a low base, negative base, we had the growth of GSDP in AP to 11.23%. మనం మళ్ళీ అంత భజన చేసుకుందాం, చాలా పెరిగింది. ఎందుకు పెరిగింది? లో బేస్లో ఉంది, అందుకు పెరిగింది. 2021-22, the GSDP has grown by 11.23%, right? Now again 2022-23, that is advanced estimates, we have to say AE, that is advanced estimates. If you see the GSDP growth again fell down to 7%, 7.02%, but you can say 7%, right? So this is, friends, what you need to remember. And because of this, we are saying that GSDP growth was volatile in AP economy over last 5 years, 2018-19, 19-20, 2021, 21-22, 22-23 advanced estimates. Okay, so this is the first segment of our discussion. If you get a question on analyze the growth trends in AP or whatever GSDP state economy, this is how you need to mention it. Then friends, let us also see the sectorial growth. Now we have seen the whole thing. Now let us see the sectorial growth, right? Okay, GSDP we have already seen, right? We now let us see this we have seen. Let us see the sectorial growth. Okay. Now the sectorial growth is very, very important to give a overall direction to the economy. Where are we heading for? What kind of development is happening? Is there investments are coming, or do we have the manufacturing sector growing, and all these things will to be known by the sectorial growth. Now what is the sectorial growth? First we have to say there is agriculture, right? Okay. In terms of agriculture, there are important points, because agri and allied sectors, you say agri and allied sectors. Here I want you to remember only 3 years. I don't want to burden your memory in the exam. So 3 years you remember, 3 years, whereas GSDP you take 5 years, because 2019-20 is a landmark. There was a sudden shift actually to the welfare driven approach, right? So that is an important thing. So 2000 for GSDP, but for sectorial growth you can actually see 2-3 years to establish a trend. Now what is the trend? If you see in 2021, okay, of course that is 2021, which is COVID year, we have good news on this front. COVID is a very interesting thing. In COVID time, most of the people, there's a lockdown and people went back to agriculture, right? In fact, if you see the previous economic survey also of 21-22, they say the percentage of population deployed in agriculture has actually increased in the COVID times, because everything is shut down. People went back and started working in the agriculture. Okay. So there was some growth. There was no degrowth in agriculture, even in the state of Andhra Pradesh. The growth was 2% in 2020-21. Okay, the growth is 2%. Agricultural sectorial growth is 2%. Now let us see 2021-22. As I said, 2021-22 is a time of rebound, right? Where people are actually started working more and whatever. We have a 9.24% growth in 21-22 in agriculture. 9.24% growth in 21-22 in agriculture. Then if you see industry, this year also there, right? That is 2022-23. Again we have a problem. See, this has been the problem with Indian economy right from the planning period. We were never stable. We always rise up and again fall, right? So the point is 4.54% in 2020-23. In 2020-23, we have 4.54% growth in agriculture and allied sectors. So friends, if the sectorial growth, these figures we cannot escape. You need to remember these figures, no choice. Okay. So that is what you need to remember. So this is about the agriculture and sectorial growth in agriculture. Now let us see the industries sector. Agriculture we have seen. Let us see the industries. Industries is more pathetic. This is the second sector, right? We have already seen agriculture. We have seen this, right? We have seen, let us see industries. In the industries, 2021, the growth was 3.9%, and 21-22, the growth was 5.59%, and 2022-23, again it has come down to 5.66%. Okay, let me say 2021-22, 2022-23, 2021 COVID year, 2021. 2020-21, right? This is the COVID year. We are taking 3 years for this. This is 3.9%. Industry growth is 3.9%. Then we have 2021-22, the year of rebound. We have 10.59% growth, in industries, 10.59% growth. Then again we see 2022-23. 2022-23, the year that is going to end now, we have come down to 5.66%. అంటే మనకు ఒరిజినాలిటీ వచ్చేస్తుంది అన్నమాట గ్రోత్లో, so this is on a low base, so it looks more, but again it has come down to this. Now what is these things? Even agriculture we have volatile growth. Industries also we have volatile growth. There is a lot of volatility. There is no stable growth in the industries. Why it was happening, I will explain to you after a minute. Now let us see services sector. Okay. Again we will say, right, services, we have to say 2020-21, right, 2020-21, 2021-22, 2022-23 advanced estimates, right? So friends, services sector is very, very important. In 2021, lockdown, COVID, other than more than anything else, we have services that are stopped, right? Everything is locked, travel, tourism, even banks, of course they were working, but other services, travel is totally stopped, right? Then hotels have stopped, and even IT companies, ITS companies were shut down for long periods, okay, across the globe, not only in AP, in India. So the 2021 we have a 8.50% degrowth, 8.50% degrowth in the services sector in Andhra Pradesh. Then again rebound, 21-22 we have 10.7%, we have a growth of 10.7% in 21-22. Then again in 22-23 we have degrowth, which is flat almost. We can say this is almost flat. It is technically only two very, very limited fraction is down, but otherwise we have to say that it was not decline, but we can say that it was actually a kind of degrowth, flat growth, right? So friends, if we want to examine why is this happening, why we have a volatile growth in economy, there are a lot of observations done by the RBI and the economists. So you can simply say that one of the serious issues in in Andhra Pradesh economy is lack of investment in infrastructure, lack of investment in capacity creation, right? And also the growth of manufacturing sector and industry sector is very, very less. MSME sector also got impacted. So friends, if you see the job creation, the real job creation, and also the services sector were not growing much. Agriculture, the government has been saying in the last 5 years that the focus is on agriculture, but of course the growth rates we have already seen. So according to Reserve Bank of India State Finances paper, it's not my opinion or whatever, according to Reserve Bank of India State Finances paper, the state government, see, this is nothing to do with the political parties. We are academics, right? You are the officers, future officers. So you have to write by quoting others. It's not that, either you support one party government or other party government. We go by the facts and the opinion of the economists. So according to RBI state finances paper, it also put Andhra Pradesh state finances, in a category where some concern is expressed. And obviously, in terms of investment and infrastructure, there is something to be done to ensure the continuity of the economic activity. Obviously, friends, if you are aware, this is the first budget. This year's is the first budget where the government was trying to increase the focus on, infrastructure to a bit, right? So, but otherwise, generally, the focus is more on certain other things. We are not saying welfare is bad. Welfare is always good. But then, corresponding, investments have to be done in other sectors in capacity creation and infrastructure. And of course, we don't have money for it. We know what is important, but we don't have money. That is the problem. So, maybe the more central assistance and maybe the more devolution of funds or the special status, which is almost forgotten in Andhra Pradesh now, all these things might help the state to push the economic and sectorial growth. These are the things which you need to do. And another thing one has to do is also to, control the public debt. Now if you see, as per the budget papers and as per the survey, latest survey, the total debt of the government increased to 4.26 lakh crore, at 2022-23 from 3.78 lakh crore. Public debt is also an important factor. The public debt in AP, is very high. In FY 2021-22, FY 21-22, it is 3,78,087 crore. 3,78,087 crore. Okay. So this is the public debt of this is crore. Okay, of government of Andhra Pradesh last year. Now if you see 2022-23, it has shot up significantly, to 4,26,234 crore. 4,26,234 crore. So this has gone up significantly. So when the public debt expenditure is going up, we need to see where it is going and all that. Anyway, we also have to end this essay with what the government says. The government is believing that the state economy is projected to bounce back to pre-COVID levels. Now the government says it is giving importance to all subsectors and give special push to increase economic growth. We have to go by what government says. So you can close this discussion by saying that this is how the government actually feels about it. So now the reasons for the dip in the growth I already told you. Second point is, while AP's growth in the end, I will be mailing this to you surely, but in the end, if you see, the overall the decline in key parameters of economic growth in Andhra Pradesh economy, whether it is GSDP or sectorial growth in FY 22-23, it also has to be understood in line with how the country was performing. As I said, the economic growth in the country, the GSDP of the country was also down. We have different issues this time, right? Because in the overall country level, if we the FY 22, that is 21-22, I already told you this figure, the growth rate was 8.7%, but again it come down to 7% in FY 22-23 advanced estimates, mainly because of the other crises you know, we have the geopolitical thing in Ukraine. Ukraine war is one of the geopolitical external threats for Indian economic growth, and high inflation is another important tension we have. We did discuss this in Indian economy, if you noted this. And the third point is RBI is also following a tight monetary policy. You know, it has been increasing rates, key policy rates. What is the link between key policy rates and growth? We'll all see that in the other topic now, but here we are going in a Q&A mode. So this is what you need to see. And the fourth point which could impact the growth, macroeconomic growth in the country as well as AP, is also the forex. The rupee, the fall of rupee against dollar is also a very, very important point you need to remember. So friends, this is how you need to see. And this exact answer to the question which you can write in the examination in about say 9-10 minutes, I will be mailing this you just listen to the class, read it, and one thing is done. Now we will go to the other aspect, sectorial growth. We will talk about the agricultural things, right? Let us see how things were happening in agriculture and all that. Okay, sectorial